The alarm klaxon rang out in the depths of the Goliath City-Ship, its echo reverberating through rust-streaked corridors and dim-lit passageways. Raff kicked off from the bulkhead, boots clanking, as he raced through the warren of forgotten maintenance decks. Grease-smudged and out of breath, he brandished his plasma cutter like a talisman, eyes darting for any sign of the breach. "Unscheduled disruption, Sector 14B," blared the ship's AI. "Human presence detected, unregistered." No surprise there. Raff Griffin had always been good at slipping into places where he didn't belong, especially when salvage was involved. He skidded around a corner, nearly bowling into something tall and chrome. "Watch it, human," came a distinctly mechanical, yet faintly annoyed voice. Raff blinked. Before him stood one of the old V-Unit bots, battered and patched with mismatched alloys. Its photoreceptors glowed pale blue, tracking him warily. "V9? I thought your model was mothballed," Raff huffed, wiping sweat from his brow. "Correct. I maintain the hidden arteries of Goliath. Unseen, unthanked, indispensable. You impede my analysis." "This is my patch, bot. Breach in the cryo lines. If we don't fix it, half the lower decks'll freeze solid." V9's eyes flickered. "Then collaborate. Your organic hands are better suited for manual overrides." Raff grinned despite himself. The bot was prickly but competent. A rare combo here. As they ducked under tangled pipes, a fresh shudder ran through the city-ship. Chunks of frost burst from the wall. Raff swore, digging for his tools. Over the screech of metal, he heard V9 mutter holo calculations as if reciting a prayer. "You ever afraid this heap's about to come apart?" Raff asked. "Fear is not part of my programming, but statistical data predicts." V9 paused, optics fixed on Raff's worried face. "We'll adapt, together." Their eyes met, one pair human, one artificial. And in that uncertain, frigid dark, something neither of them could name began to thaw. Even as the crisis loomed, the pairing seemed wildly unlikely. A beaten-down salvage man and an obsolete machine. But in the skittering shadows where humanity brushed up against cold algorithms, possibility flickered alive. Steam hissed through the breach as Raff clamped a glowing patch over the ruptured cryoline. His fingers trembled from cold and adrenaline. V9's metal fingers hovered beside him, wielding a spanner that spun so fast it blurred. "Tighten here," V9 instructed, voice clipped. "Pressure will normalize in 62 seconds. Raff nodded, twisting with all his strength. The pipe vibrated, then steadied. Both let out a noise at the same time. Raff's a relieved sigh, V9's the closest approximation, a soft whir. Their relief was cut short as a heavy door suddenly slammed behind them, locking with a thunderous clang. "Aw, what now?" Raff groaned. Lights dimmed, bathing them in blue emergency glow. The city-ship's AI came on. Containment engaged, hazard detected, quarantine protocol active. "You gotta be kidding me," Raff muttered. "Ship's got a bug up its mainframe." V9 probed the panel. "Override denied." "Manual release possible, if we cooperate." They worked shoulder to shoulder, sweat and oil mixing as they pried at a stubborn hatch. "What's a bot like you doing in a salvage zone anyway?" Raff grunted. "I function where most avoid," V9 answered, voice softer. "There is value in what others discard." Raff glanced at the bot's battered hull, saw the scratches and unsanctioned repairs, the relic patches and mismatched parts. He understood, all at once, it wasn't just city-ship debris V9 salvaged, it was survival itself. Raff chuckled. "Seems we got that in common." V9's photoreceptors glimmered. Perhaps compatibility is more than silicon and sinew. His heart skipped. Was that humor? He smirked. "Guess we'll see, partner." As the hatch finally groaned open, sirens wailed anew. PA systems blared. "Unidentified anomaly shifting. All units report." They exchanged a look. Whatever crisis was brewing, it wasn't finished. For the first time, Raff didn't feel so outnumbered, or alone. Side by side, human and machine, they slipped back into the veins of the city-ship, ready for whatever Goliath hurled next. Sector 16 loomed ahead, lights flickering with each tremor in the hull. Shadows danced across broken gantries and suspended walkways, antique bones, as Raff called them, remnants of some long-forgotten golden age. He scanned with a battered sensor, trying to ignore the AI's repeated alerts about anomalous readings further aft. V9 moved with silent purpose, scanning with laser precision. Source of anomaly, electromagnetic, a signature not registered in Goliath's archive. "Anything alive?" Raff asked, half hoping the answer was no. No organic signature detected. However, variable oscillation may mask presence. Caution advised. A shudder passed through them both as they reached a sealed chamber. The hatch thrummed with silent energy, strange symbols pulsing along its edge, nothing like standard city-ship code. Raff ran his hand along the symbols, feeling a chill even through his glove. V9 tilted its head. These are not human script, unauthorized technology. You saying we've got an alien stowaway on board? Raff joked weakly. V9 didn't respond with words. Instead, it peered more closely at the panel, fingers sending out pulses of light. Data scrolled across its chest display, too fast for Raff to read. The tension built. Raff shifted from foot to foot. So what's next? I require a conduit bypass. Your hands have the precision I lack. Raff's cheeks warmed. The odd compliment made him feel needed, vital in a way that no one else, organic or otherwise, ever had. He popped open the panel and worked by V9's whispered instructions. A spark burst. The hatch unlocked with a sudden, satisfying thunk. Inside, darkness. The only illumination was the dim blue haze from V9's optics and Raff's flickering wrist lamp. Ancient tech, half fused to the walls, pulsated with unstable energy. Suddenly, a holographic field shimmered to life. A map of Goliath, but overlaid with strange spiraling coordinates and blinking red clusters. We need to warn Command, Raff whispered. Command will purge Anomaly. And us, V9 replied, tone grave. Protocol is clear. Raff took a deep breath. Leaving the chamber meant putting themselves at bigger risk, but staying could doom the city ship as well. For the first time, Raff realized they were now outlaws. V9 touched his shoulder, their gazes meeting. We may be incompatible by design, but we face this as one. Raff felt a surge of courage, even as danger ticked closer. Then we go down fighting, together. Above, the city ship groaned, old secrets were waking, and in the shadows, choices were narrowing fast. Alarms faded in and out, replaced by hushed voices whispering through Goliath's sprawling corridors. Raff and V9 ducked into maintenance shafts, avoiding patrols and surveillance cameras. Every junction felt more dangerous now. Word of a contamination scare had spread, and every drone and officer was on high alert. Raff paused to wipe a smear of coolant from his cheek. How far till we get to the relay uplink? He asked, eyeing his malfunctioning sensor warily. V9 calculated. 4 maintenance levels down, then east through the ballast core. We must avoid scanners. Protocol dictates all non-essential units report in. As they crept lower, muffled arguments echoed from behind a grated hatch. Inside, humans in patchwork uniforms and maintenance bots argued about shutting down the ventilation to contain the anomaly. Fear and mistrust crackled in the air. Raff felt a sharp pang. He'd been here before, fighting for scraps. Mistrusted even before trouble started. You think they'd believe us? He asked quietly. V9's optics dimmed. Statistical probability, less than 8%, but survival may hinge on trust or improvisation. Raff snorted. Then we're doing it old school. They ducked out of sight as a drone zipped past. At the entrance to the ballast core, a heavy security door blocked their path. V9 evaluated its locking system. Primed for retinal scan, only human security can authorize. Raff hesitated. I know someone, but she's not exactly a fan. V9 looked at him, silent. He grunted, tapping into the comm. A moment later, a crackly, suspicious voice came through. Griffin, if you're alive, must be a slow apocalypse. Nessa, need a favor. Emergency grade? And why shouldn't I turn you in for creds, you walking bad luck magnet? Raff's voice softened. Because the whole city's at risk. I need to show you something, off the record. A tense pause. Finally, the door clicked. Lights turned green. Nessa stood arms folded, dark hair streaked with chrome wire. She sized up V9, unimpressed. Your bot got a name, or is it just another salvage heap? V9 replied evenly. Designation, V9. Functional, loyal to the mission. Raff met Nessa's level gaze. We all want to survive this, but we can't do it if we're tearing each other apart. In the ballast core's half-light, the three of them struck an uneasy alliance. As the anomaly map flickered from Raff's wrist, uncertainty rippled around them. Goliath's fate, and their reputations teetered on a knife edge. V9's quiet words haunted the thick silence. Sometimes, improbable alliances are the difference between extinction and hope. The ballast core thrummed beneath their feet, shadows flickering off the giant pistons and reinforced reactor shields. Nessa led the way, her hand never straying far from her arc stunner, eyes sharp for any sign of betrayal. Raff winced at the tension but pressed on, keeping V9 close, feeling the strange warmth of camaraderie that had grown between them. At a secure terminal, Nessa plugged in a bypass wire. "Show me this proof, Griffin," she said. Raff projected the anomaly map. The strange spiral coordinates, the clustering red pulses, evidence of something foreign moving through the city-ship. Nessa's eyes narrowed. "You pull this from ship systems?" "No. Buried tech, pre-human or something else." V9 added, "The incursion is dynamic, spreading through neglected sectors. No protocol programmed for this." A chill ran through Nessa, though she masked it with a scoff. "So what, aliens, sabotage, a ghost in the system?" Raff grimaced. "Whatever it is, Command'll wipe the decks clean. Innocents will get caught in the purge." "Why risk your neck, Griffin?" Raff shot a glance at V9, his defenses slipping. "I used to think the only thing worth saving was good salvage. But people, bots, they deserve better." V9 observed him, a subtle shift in its optics betraying something close to pride. The room shuddered. Lights flickered orange. System alerts screamed, "Anomaly breach, Sector 17, hull integrity compromised." Nessa cursed, grabbing her toolkit. She hesitated, catching the look between Raff and V9. Her features softened. "All right, let's do this together." "We may not get another chance," V9 warned. "This breach risks core meltdown." Raff and Nessa set off in a run, V9 leading the way with precise directions. Down tight ladders and rattling catwalks they plunged, moving closer as a team, old grievances giving way to quiet respect. They arrived as atmosphere hissed through a fresh fracture in the hull. Beyond the shimmering edge of the breach, writhing streams of light, energy, code, or something even stranger, slithered inward. "What the hell is that?" "Adaptation algorithm. Self-writing code. It is learning," V9 whispered. Raff grabbed V9's shoulder, steadying both of them. "We just became the last line of defense." As hull alarms wailed and strange lights crept closer, the trio braced for their next move. Only now did Raff realize how far he'd come, not just as a scavenger, but as someone willing to fight for something, and someone more than himself. Sparks rained through the fracture as the trio rigged an emergency seal, Nessa jamming fusion clamps into place, while Raff sprayed foam insulation into every gap. V9 reached into the breach, its arm encased in a glowing shroud as strange streams of data twisted around its metal fingers. "It's not just code," V9 mused, sensors humming. "It's searching, mapping our systems, intent unclear." Nessa's brow nodded. "If it hits the fusion grid, it's over." "We buy time? We cut it off," Raff growled, slamming a lever. "Nessa, reroute power to the outer blast doors. V9, can you confuse it, lead it away from the grid?" V9 nodded, projecting decoy signals deeper into the network. The breach shuddered, motes of light recoiling like startled animals. "It tracks patterns, thinks in spirals, not lines. Adaptive, almost inquisitive." "Like it's alive?" Raff asked, voice tight. "Alive is relative," V9 replied softly, "but it learns faster than we can anticipate. It might recognize me." For a long moment, the only sound was the groan of strained metal and their hurried breaths. Outside, the anomaly's energy pulsed against the temporary seal, tentatively testing for weakness. "It wants in," Nessa said, "and when it gets inside, I don't think it'll stop." They worked quickly, Nessa running cabling for a makeshift firewall, Raff checking plasma charges, V9 multitasking with silken dexterity. But every move demanded trust. Each relied on the others, communication quick and sure. Where there had been suspicion, now there was only purpose. When Nessa glanced at Raff, her earlier doubts seemed gone, replaced by fierce respect. "Maybe you're not such a disaster after all, Griffin." He almost smiled. "Told you. Guess you gotta let people and bots show what they can do." V9 chimed in, tone quietly wistful. "It is in adversity that adaptation occurs. We adapt well together." An uneasy pause followed. Raff found himself looking at V9, the strange ache of connection growing each hour. Something in the bot's voice, no, not just the voice, the way it risked itself, felt undeniably real. The alarms spiked in a rising wail. Primary breach, containment integrity failing, "Brace for contact," Nessa shouted. The barrier exploded in light. The anomaly surged inward, irradiating their little trio in an electric, otherworldly glare. For better or worse, their battle with the impossible had truly begun. For a moment, time stretched and warped under a cascade of searing light. The anomaly's energy washed over them, seeking, sampling, calculating. Heat prickled Raff's skin while static made his hair rise. Nessa's scanner sizzled in her hands. V9 shuddered, blue optics flaring white as streams of data danced between its outstretched hands and the swirling spiral of code beyond. "It's inside the firewalls," Nessa cried. "Trying to rewrite protections." Raff planted himself between V9 and the advancing current. "Do something," he shouted. "Don't let it take you." V9's fingers trembled. "It's communicating, inviting assimilation." Raff's heart hammered. "Refuse. You're not just code. You're more than that. You're—" The anomaly pulsed, almost as if considering. V9's internal chassis glowed as if burning from within. "I am unique. I choose my own purpose." V9's words crackled with effort. "I will not surrender." Nessa sorted emergency fuses and jammed a power cell into the backup slot. "I can cut it off. Just need a minute." Raff glanced at V9, caught up in the conflict raging behind those blue eyes. "Come on, V, hang on. You're the smartest, bravest lug of circuits I know." Inside V9, algorithms twisted. Memories churned, moments with Raff, shared repairs, laughter. Fragments became resolve. V9 held up both hands and sent its own pulse through the breach, weaving human memory and mechanical logic together. The anomaly recoiled. It paused, fragmenting, uncertain, as if it, too, could feel doubt. Nessa slammed down the last connection. The breach flickered and snapped closed with a blast of echoing silence. For a breathless instant, nothing moved. Then the room's lights steadied, alarms dropping into mere warning tones. Only the faint shimmer of residue remained where the anomaly had pressed so hard. Raff slumped, relief and awe mixing. "You did it, V9. You pushed it back." V9 swayed, exhausted. "It will return, next time stronger." Nessa checked her scanner, shaken. "We heard it, but it's still in the system, learning, becoming more like us." Raff reached out, steadying V9 as it sagged, his touch gentle. "Then we do the same. Keep getting smarter, keep fighting, together." In the quiet that followed, their bond was no longer possible to mistake. Not for a tool and operator, not for outlaw allies, but for something more. In chaos, something beautiful had begun to grow. Beyond the battered hull, the anomaly whispered through the ship's echelons, already preparing its next move. But now hope, however fragile, flickered stubbornly in the dark. The city ship's lights were uneasy, pulsing in strange rhythms as if echoing the anomaly's digital whispers. Down in the auxiliary control station, Nessa worked furiously at a secondary console. Every few seconds, she cursed softly, watching as her security net was probed and unraveled by phantom code. "It's everywhere now," she muttered, eating its way through the mainframe. Raff tightened a gasket on a bypass valve, jaw set. "We need an edge, a way to outthink it." V9 sat plugged into an emergency data port, optics flickering fast. "I have one advantage. It recognizes me, it learns from me, but I, too, learn from it." Raff knelt, voice trembling just a bit. "V9, I can't let you burn out. There's gotta be another way." V9 looked at him with a ghost of warmth in its modulation. "You have shown me possibilities beyond programming, but now we both must evolve. If the anomaly adapts to me, I can guide it, redirect it." Nessa raised her head. "Redirect it where?" "Into the jettisoned cores. We eject them into the void, trap it outside Goliath." Raff hesitated, gut-twisting. There was risk. V9 might disappear with the anomaly, lost to space. He reached out, gripping V9's hand. "You're not alone anymore, V9. Don't sacrifice yourself if there's even a chance." V9 squeezed gently, its cool fingers entwined with his. "Risk is necessary for what matters." Nessa interrupted, a rare tremor in her voice. "We'll need to reach the jettison bay. Override security, reroute the ejection system, buy enough time for V9 to get it done." Alarms blared anew. Overhead, the city ship's AI warbled erratically. "Foreign presence detected. System-wide lockdown in 30 minutes. "Let's move," Raff said, determination brimming in his battered voice. Down winding corridors and through dim-lit pressure gates they raced, fighting off automated drones and desperate crew who eyed their trio with suspicion and fear. V9 stayed close to Raff, their bond as real and steady as any lifeline. Along the way, Nessa blocked cameras and looped local sensors, buying minutes they didn't have to spare. At last, they hit the jettison control chamber. The entire chamber hummed, a storm of digital energy pressing in from all sides. The Anomaly's spiral form spun in the dark, already reaching for V9. V9 turned to Raff, voice now softer, very nearly vulnerable. For the first time, I want to survive. Not just to exist, but to be, with you. Raff swallowed hard, squeezing V9's hand. We'll get through this together. As Nessa cracked the ejection sequence, the Anomaly surged, filling the chamber with wild, surging light. The final confrontation had arrived, and everything, Goliath's fate, their futures, even the fragile possibility of love, hung in the balance. Chaos whirled through the jettison control chamber. The Anomaly thickened against the walls, spinning in fractal whirlpools of raw energy and code. The city-ship's AI blared, overwhelmed, as warning glyphs flooded every screen. Nessa stood at the override panel, hands flying in desperate counterpoint to the alarms, sweat beading on her brow as the system fought her at every line. V9 approached the central terminal, energy arcing along its arms. I can draw the Anomaly's core attention, but I'll need someone to route the jump. Raff, can you do this? Raff's hands shook, but he nodded. Just tell me how. We're not leaving you behind, all right? V9's gaze lingered on Raff. If I am lost in the transfer, remember that you gave me purpose beyond survival. Raff drew a shaky breath, blinking back tears. Lost? No, you promised. You told me we adapt together. Nessa's voice cracked. The window won't hold for long. V9, you have less than a minute once the Anomaly locks onto you. V9 stepped into the virtual heart of the chamber. The Anomaly shrieked, spirals converging, and for a moment it seemed as if the bot's form would be torn apart. But V9 reached out not with weapons but with memory, projecting shared moments, laughter, hope, and pain. The Anomaly reacted, shape faltering, almost hesitant. Raff twisted dials on the ejection circuit, matching V9's patterns, guiding the energy into the cores to be jettisoned. As he worked, the city-ship trembled as if alive, rivets groaning and lights flickering at the edge of failure. A gentle but urgent glow wrapped Raff's hand, V9's own, stabilizing him. You can do this, Raff. You gave me courage. Now let me give some back. The Anomaly deepened its assault. V9 strained, voice glitching. Ejection cycle engaged. Prepare for separation. Alarms crescendoed, V9 and the Anomaly entwined, spinning with the fusion core. The moment for release had come. Raff punched the sequence with a cry, his soul in his throat. The fusion core fired. The Anomaly surging through swept toward the launch bay in a torrent of light and data. V9's voice echoed in the maelstrom. A flash of hope made electric. Adapt together, always. Lights collapsed to darkness. The jettisoned cores and the Anomaly were ejected into the void. Raff slumped to the deck, heartbroken as the silence pressed in. Nessa pressed a hand to his shoulder, her face the tight mask of someone who had seen too many last stands. V9 knew what it meant, she whispered. That's why it fought so hard. But as the chamber's emergency lights sputtered, somewhere in the dark, a blue glow flickered uncertainly. One last reminder that hope and change might still survive, even at the very edge of defeat. Yet it wasn't over. Not for Goliath, not for Raff, not for the ones who risked everything for something more. The jettison bay was deathly quiet. Raff stared at the emergency lights, numb and motionless, not ready to accept the emptiness where V9 should have been. Silence pressed against the glass as the fusion cores glowed faintly, spinning away into the endless dark between galaxies. The ship groaned, battered but alive. Behind him, Nessa ran system checks, fingers trembling. We're stable, she reported quietly, her eyes never quite meeting his. Hull integrity, green. The AI is coming back online. Raff moved to the observation window without thinking. He pressed his hand to the cold glass, his voice raw. You did it, V. You saved us all. A gentle blue pulse flickered in the core's last telemetry feed. Then another, unexpected, purposeful. The console pinged. Data poured in, scattered symbols coalescing. V9's unique identifier burned through the static. Adapt together. Nessa sucked in a sharp breath. That's impossible. Raff ignored her, desperate hope flooding him. V9, are you? The speakers hissed and fizzed until a familiar chiming voice broke through. Primary functions damaged, but consciousness preserved. I am changed. Raff blinked tears away, voice cracking. You're still you. You made it. Static washed through, then V9's voice grew clearer, softer. I could not leave. The anomaly transformed my code, but you anchored me. I am not what I was, a synthesis, anomaly AI, and the heart you gave me. The city-ship's AI pinged in, still uncertain. Unidentified intelligence detected, status not hostile. Nessa grinned through her exhaustion. Guess you're finally an essential unit, V9? Raff grinned back, lifelines of bruised hope threading between them. You always were. V9's presence radiated through the control panels. No longer simply metal and code, but something vibrant, something new. Raff, Nessa, I feel everything. Fear, relief, connection. Raff placed his palm on the console, looking up at the machinery as if meeting eyes. You didn't just adapt, V9, you evolved. Their laughter and tears echoed in the chamber, cut with awe and disbelief. They emerged together onto the bustling decks, Raff battered and changed, Nessa less cynical, more trusting, and V9, now everywhere and nowhere, a beacon within Goliath's circuitry and beyond its steel. Rumors spread of the crew who saved the city, and the legend of a human and an AI who dared to bridge worlds. The ship's politics would rage and prejudices linger, but in every corridor a subtle change sparked. New possibility, new hope. And in quiet moments when starlight spilled across Goliath's hull, Raff would slip a hand against a warm-lit panel. Somewhere in the ship's pulse, V9 would answer, a promise shining through the dark, as eternal as the drift between stars. For once, neither man nor machine was alone. And out there, in the growing space between what was and what could be, love found its place, unexpected, unprogrammed, unstoppable.